Eddie Murphy's story begins where laughter and survival meet. He's the firecracker from Beverly Hills Cop, the beating heart of the Nutty Professor, and the unforgettable donkey in Shrek, a performer whose timing, warmth, and fearlessness crossed every boundary of race, time, and language. But the noise of applause often hides a quiet history. His does, too. He was born in the spring of 1961. In Bushwick, Brooklyn, Edward Regan Murphy to Charles Edward Murphy, a transit cop who moonlighted as a jokester, and Lillian, a telephone operator with a soothing voice that made hard days gentler. Bushwick wasn't glamour, it was grit. Still, inside that small apartment, humor flickered like a nightlight. Then the ground shifted. At 3, his parents split. Soon after, at 8, his father was gone for good, taken in circumstances a child should never have to understand. Eddie rarely spoke of it later. Instead, he learned something he'd carry all his life. Laughter can be a shield. Another blow followed. His mother became seriously ill, and Eddie and his brother Charlie spent nearly a year in foster care. Not abandoned, just set adrift for a while. Under the glow of a TV set, he practiced voices and lines from cartoons, copying rhythms until the rehearsals drowned out the loneliness. Comedy kept me alive inside, he'd say much later. By 1970, Lillian recovered and married Vernon Lynch, a steady hand from an ice cream plant who moved the family to Roosevelt, Long Island. At Roosevelt High, Eddie became the kid teachers couldn't stay mad at, the class clown who could break tension with a single line. But some truths stayed with him. Love can vanish. Safety can be temporary. The first time he tried a real stage, he was 15, a local talent show in 1976. Under weak lights and on a borrowed mic, the room broke into laughter. It didn't just protect him, it set him free. By 16, that spark had turned into need. He took the last train into Manhattan, hit smoky clubs at 2 in the morning, and walked home when the trains stopped, breath turning white in the cold. Sometimes he performed for drink tickets, a sandwich, or a crumpled $10. At 17, I'd do shows all night and sleep in class, he'd recall. But that was my school. He studied Richard Pryor's rawness, Bill Cosby's smooth edges, Red Fox's gravel, and made it all his own. Clubs hung up. TV said he was too young, too new, too black. He kept dialing. Breakthrough came in 1980. At 19, he landed on Saturday Night Live just as the show was wobbling. For weeks, he was barely seen. Then one night, the broadcast ran short. A producer pointed, "Eddie, go!" 5 minutes later, America had a new reason to watch. He didn't just kill, he resurrected the show. Hollywood came fast. In 1982, at 21, he burst onto screens with 48 Hers, then Trading Places with Dan Aykroyd turned class satire into a crowd pleaser. By 1984, Beverly Hills Cop blasted past $316 million, the year's biggest film. He wasn't asking for a seat at the table. He remade the room, but success eats hours. Call times at 5 a.m., interviews, shoots, rewrites, again and again. "People think being funny is easy," he said quietly once. "Sometimes it's the hardest job in the world." Hits followed. The Golden Child, Coming to America, and so did the loneliness of dressing room mirrors and lukewarm coffee. "Everybody's laughing," he told a friend. "Nobody's listening." In 1989, he wrote, directed, and starred in Harlem Nights, bringing Richard Pryor and Red Fox together on one screen, his dream on his terms. The box office crossed $60 million, but critics turned cold. He watched the premiere from the back row. When the lights came up, the empty seats felt louder than any review. The 1990s opened with headwinds. Beverly Hills Cop 3 struggled. In 1997, a late-night misunderstanding became tabloid meat. "When the world loves you," he said later, "it wants to own you. When it can't, it wants to break you." So he stepped away. He listened to his kids. He caught his breath. Then 1996 changed everything. The Nutty Professor. Not a comeback, a reinvention. 7 characters, 1 soul. Audiences laughed until they wiped their eyes. "That was me," he said. "All of me." Soon after, Dr. Dolittle charmed families, Mulan's Mushu crackled with bravado, and Shrek's donkey gave him a second life on the global stage. Parents who grew up with Axel Foley now laughed next to their children. He'd become a bridge between generations. In 2006, Dreamgirls unveiled a new note: open-wounded, vulnerable, unforgettable. He won the Golden Globe. The Oscars passed him over. Sometimes, he shrugged, you have to know when to leave the room. He kept moving. The 2010s brought reflection. Dolomite Is My Name 2019 was both a tribute and a triumph, 97% on Rotten Tomatoes and a Golden Globe nomination. He returned to SNL after 35 years. Chris Rock, Dave Chappelle, and Tracy Morgan turned up not to roast him, but to thank him. In 2015, he accepted the Mark Twain Prize for American Humor. They say it's for humor, he smiled. To me, it's a prize for surviving it. His influence? It runs through Chris Rock, Dave Chappelle, Kevin Hart, Trevor Noah, anyone who blends edge, humanity, and rhythm. He didn't just expand what was funny. He expanded who got to be funny. The personal life carried its own weather. Away from the spotlights, he found tenderness with Paulette McNeely. Their son Eric arrived in 1989. There was warmth with Tamara Hood. Their son Christian was born in 1990. He loved his boys fiercely, even when work stole moments he couldn't get back. Success doesn't fix you, he told a friend. It just hides what's broken. Then came a grand chapter, a Plaza Hotel wedding to Nicole Mitchell. The 1990s at home were golden: Bria, Miles, Shane, Zola, Bella, 5 children, and a house that sounded like happiness. He built a backyard playground not as a trophy, but as a promise his kids would never feel the emptiness he knew. The 2000s turned hectic again. Shrek, Dr. Dolittle, the Nutty Professor sequels, travel premieres, more travel. You're everywhere, Nicole said gently, except here. By 2006, they separated. No scandal, just distance. Reports put the settlement at $15 million. We didn't fall out of love, he said. We fell out of sync. Later in 2006, lightning struck with Mel B, Melanie Brown, joyful, fierce, and complicated. In April 2007, she gave birth to Angel Iris Murphy Brown. After the static and speculation, a child's eyes made everything plain. He stepped up without speeches, birthdays remembered, calls returned, support offered. Angel knows her father, Mel said. That's what matters. With Tracy Edmonds, calm replaced chaos. On New Year's Day 2008, they exchanged vows in Bora Bora in a ceremony from the heart, though not legally binding stateside. Back home, life proved heavier than paradise. They chose kindness, parted as friends, and carried respect forward. By 2012, he was done chasing fireworks. He wanted warmth. He found it with Paige Butcher, private, grounded, uninterested in noise. In 2016, their daughter Izzy Una arrived. In 2018, their son Max Charles was born, named for Charlie, the brother Eddie adored and lost in 2017. The grief was quiet. The love stayed loud. He lives in us, Eddie said. Every time we laugh. Home in Beverly Hills became a softer world. Coffee, cartoons, piano notes at dusk, a partner who keeps the air gentle. My kids are everything, he said in 2019, and you can feel that he means it. The hardest silence came with Charlie Murphy's passing in 2017, his first audience, his lifelong ally. No press conference, just stillness. He lost the man who knew the whole story, a friend said. Grief didn't sink him. It reshaped him. He learned that peace isn't the lack of pain, it's the skill of carrying it. Today, at 64, his legacy is valued around $200 million. But the number only tells you scale, not meaning. He lives with Paige Butcher and their youngest children in an 18,000-square-foot Beverly Park sanctuary, bought for $10 million, now valued over $30 million. There's a red velvet theater, a grotto with a waterfall, a stone pizza oven under ivy, a full basketball court beside a private boxing gym. The real wealth is what fills it. Voices, not headlines. His property story stretches back. In Granite Bay, he once owned a 12,600-square-foot estate near Sacramento. 10 bedrooms, 14 baths, a retro arcade, a guest house. It sold for millions. Across California, New Jersey, and beyond, his real estate holdings quietly top $50 million. Built for sanctuary, not spectacle. The garage reads like a dream list. Rolls-Royce Phantom Drophead Coupe, Ferrari 5989 GTB Fiorano, Aston Martin DBS, Mercedes-Benz SLS AMG, Rolls-Royce Wraith. When he needs the sky, there's a Gulfstream GV valued at $30 million. When he needs water, a 120-foot yacht. Not to flaunt, just to breathe. He never chased excess, only excellence. He negotiated ownership and profit slices on films like Shrek, Dr. Dolittle, and Coming to America. So the laughter still pays long after the curtain falls. Giving has been steady and quiet, millions to AIDS research, children's hospitals, the Martin Luther King Jr. Center, and funds for artists in trouble. During the 2023 Hollywood shutdown, he quietly sent $100,000 to the relief fund. No fanfare. You don't give to be seen, he said. You give because you remember. He works when the story moves him, like Beverly Hills Cop 4 on his terms. Real success is waking up with nothing left to prove, from Bushwick to Beverly Park, from foster homes to film history. From the 2 a.m. open mics to 5 a.m. call sheets, from surviving to steady. Eddie Murphy didn't just make people laugh. He showed how laughter can heal, first himself, then everyone else. If his movies ever got you through a long week or a hard season, leave a heart and share your favorite Eddie moment.